Hello everyone and welcome to this tournament playthrough for a rookie division. If you do want to follow along when I go through all the holes that you will play in the tournament, then use the info box on the right hand side. Obviously all of that are just suggestions. You don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but now please enjoy the video. Hole number one, for those of you that do have Grizzly 7 or better, have a massive advantage here. Why? It's because of the ball guideline. Because when playing with a backbone like this, what I have here is to make an educated guess to how long the ball will roll and also in what direction it will bounce and come in towards the pin. I'm using a katana to use all the side spin here to avoid having to play close to any rough lines. A medium distance plus 10, trying to center the ball properly, hitting perfect, and the ball will always be around the hole. Obviously very important to have in mind to not go too far or too short to leave ourselves with a tough putt. And bounces like that, you can see it gets into here, a little bit too far left. The putt from here is not bad at all though, and we're getting ourselves a safe birdie, and the hole-in-one chance is most definitely there. If I would rank par 4s in this game, this would absolutely be one of my least favorite ones. Because, I mean, look at all the bunkers, look at all the bumpy parts. And what I'm looking to do here now is to get myself to a distance that will allow me to do a rough bump on the second shot. Therefore, I'm also using a power 3 ball here, where playing with a power 4 or power 5 ball would also be good. It would even be better because you would reach longer and you don't have to push the drive that hard. So a controlled drive where it bounces and to roll and to get through the rough is the plan. Now here obviously I'm not getting through the rough, which is a crappy replay, but to display what I'm actually looking for, rolling through the rough allows me, even with a lower level sniper, to play towards the pin. Here it's all from medium to maximum distance, and now it's time to find a spot that gives us a consistent ball guideline rolling up towards the pin. And what that is that you can see that I moving left, the more right you're getting, the more inconsistent generally the ball guideline is getting. So try to find a spot and then try to replicate it obviously for the next time. No elevation for the second shot, and we're playing once again all from medium to a maximum distance of our club here. Center the ball, hit perfect, and this will give you a solid chance for a drop. And I do think as well, when it comes to the rough bump here on this hole, the rough bump gives you a better control of how, if you will miss, that you will actually stay close to the pin, where the bounce up will be very difficult to control the speed and will therefore risk putting you in positions where you can have a worse putt. Hole number 3, playing from front tee, it's actually pretty boring, because even if you have a tailwind, you will never have the strength enough in the wind to allow you to bounce over the big rough patch without risking getting stuck into it. And you know, that leaves us the only way to just lay up. And I do believe that I do have a little different way of laying up than what you may think if you're when you're looking at this playthrough. So let's talk you through it. Max plus 10 with our quarterback, playing with a kingmaker as I want to reduce the wind. You don't have to play with a kingmaker, as there is no real shot that needs us to have a lot of distance. Second shot, I'm actually going left. I'm using all the 4 backspin on my sniper 7, trying to leave the ball on the left side of the fairway here. And the reason I'm doing so, it's because I'm going to go for a rough bump from the left instead of going from the right. Playing from the right is absolutely possible. The problem is, especially with lower level clubs, is that the ball guideline will fail you when it comes to the third shot, and that could leave yourself to a very tricky putt. Now, looking at the third shot, I'm gonna keep the same elevation, which is no elevation at all, and medium distance as a reference, but it's obviously going to be all from medium to maximum distance depending on what type of distance you are in club-wise. So what I'm doing here now is that I'm trying to play into that little sticky spot that is there as well. This is a little skinnier rough bump, but as the wind is so low, it's going to take a lot for us to actually miss that one. And to add the last part with this is that going with this type of attack that we're doing here, what it does is that it's, even if I miss, it's going to put me in a spot where I do have a very makeable pot on the for the birdie, because hitting a great left, let's take a look here now, it hits the rough, it rolls up, and you can see how close we are to the pin, that this is going to be a gimme putt. Whereof if we would be trying to play from the side or using the slope or something like that, we might put ourselves in a spot where the putt is going to be very difficult to make. Players always ask me, why do I go for so many rough bumps? It's because the rough bumps is the best way to attack the pin for drops many of the times. Not all the time, but in a scenario like this where we do have a rough bump that allows us to have a nice ball guideline, to then have a bounce up shot with a ball guideline you can't really read, and stuff like that, then for me it's a no-brainer. If you want to go for a hole-in-one, I believe that even from the front tee, we should be playing an aggressive route here. Sure, always playing aggressive means that you take a bigger risk, but I'm not here to give you a safe way for a birdie. I'm here to give you an alternative for getting a hole-in-one, and the best way is this way. Medium distance plus 10, using a ball with 3 left spin, also using enough top spin to get the ball guideline slightly short of pin, because have in mind the backbone does not have a fully developed ball guideline, and we need to compensate for that, whereof once again a graceful level 7 or better will have a massive advantage. Nice little drop here on hole number 4. Take your game to the next level with our Ultimate Tournament Text Guides for Expert and Master Division for the Independence Day Tournament, a full night of the City Park, a tough course where you will have free-to-play ball options and pay ball options from our team to give you a much nicer time on the course. It's also the first tournament of season 89, so perfect chance to get a head start over your opponents and the other clans that you're competing against. Scan the QR code here on the screen or go directly via the link in the description down below, patreon.com/golfclashtommy. On hole 5, I truly want to display a different route here, which I do believe is actually, what can I say? This is definitely a route where consistency is giving us a big help. And so I'm starting at min, power 3 line, adjusting minimum distance plus 10. Once I've done that, I'm pulling back to min club again. I'm using all the backspin that I do have on my quarterback level 8. So my idea here now is to get the ball up that slope and to just fall down, and that's going to be a consistent drive distance, and it's going to leave us with a consistent second shot, allowing us to attack the pin with a rough bump. And I do believe this type of route is definitely going to be a route that's going to give us much more joy than if going to try to bounce either left or right of the tree. That could be tricky. So what I'm doing here is that I'm trying to find the little sticky spot that is right there, trying to play into that. Having a headwind like this though is going to have it, what I need to is to leave the ball guideline long, because if I'm getting the ball guideline to go at the hole, that's going to not have speed enough to get there. And that's something that is obviously very important to have in mind. So spins could be varied depending on what type of distance we have and stuff like that. Adjusting is 10% elevation through club distance, and you will notice here that unfortunately it's the topspin that is the issue, that we're not having speed enough to get the ball towards the hole, which is the only difficult part in headwind. Sure, we have the line, it rolls down, and we are inches away of getting it to drop. But a little different approach here in hole 5 that I wanted to display, which I do believe will bring some joy in the tournament. For hole number 6, we strongly advise you to play with a power 5 ball. The Big Topper is a perfect club here to ensure that we're getting distance enough on the fairway on the left. Because why, or like to say like this, why is distance so important here on the drive? It's because the second shot will otherwise be impossible to attack the pin if you're not getting far enough on the left. And the Big Topper does something that very few other clubs is doing, which is allowing you to go with a lot of topspin. Because playing with low level extra miles, Thor's Hammer, Apocalypse and stuff like that won't give you more than, I mean, all from 4.5 up to maybe 6-7 bars of topspin. And here the Big Topper gives us more and we can reach further, and combined with a power 5 ball will leave us in a spot that is like this. So you can see here now that we are not even at max club. So if you are a Sniper 10 user, use the Sniper 10 because of its better ball guideline. Now I'm going to have to just guess where my ball is going to end up, and sure, if we're looking at this now in hindsight, it's truly what can I say, it's truly it's obviously obvious that we're going to have this ball to bounce long and it's going to leave ourselves for a bad putt, and that's something to have in mind. That leaving ourselves with a bad putt is not something that is recommended. So getting up here, up the hill, and the ball somewhat stays there, it's from here at least a easy putt. But if we would be rolling down even more left, that's going to be a much harder putt to make. So something to have in mind as well. 5% elevation, true club distance on the second shot. Hole number 7. Here we're going to bounce over to the left hand side. 3 left spin and 4.5 bar top spin. We do want to reach as far up there as we can. Now, when the screen turns very pixely, we're going to make an adjustment of max plus 10. And we're going to use approximately 3/4 of a ball of left curl. I'm using a katana to give myself the side spin 3, as it's not necessary with any better power. I'm making sure not to use a kingmaker, and I'm saving those here. Obviously, if being, I mean, no, there will be no time where a kingmaker actually will be something to play with. Now, right, so here I'm kind of exploring different alternatives here, because the rough bump there, you know, if we can play a rough bump, why not, you know? But ending up playing the standard way, which is bounce on the fairway over towards the pin. Very important to back up a little bit here, because it's super easy to be in a spot where the glitch is in play. And when the glitch is in play, then we don't know if we're gonna go short or we're gonna go long, and what that will make is that gonna make for a difficult putt in the end. So back up a little bit like I did here, use spin to pin and make a proper adjustment. No elevation and true club distance. I'm reading the club distance a little bit wrong here, which makes me to miss just left, which means that I'm over adjusting and have to reduce my adjustment just slightly. But in my opinion, decent chance on hole 7. From a putting perspective, this hole is going to be the most difficult one to always get yourself close. Sure, you can go for a sand bump here if you would like, and that sand bump isn't actually as bad as it looks, but the normal way of playing this hole is to play with a long iron with a good amount of backspin. The Saturn is a perfect club for that, max plus 10, and I'm using a power 1 ball. If you can get yourself close like this, if you're missing, that's the thing to have in mind, then that's going to be the way to play. But the difficult part in some wind angles is that you get such a push from the wind that you will need to catch the slope very high up and the ball rolls down, and if we miss, we do have a very long putt. But this is a way of attacking the pin which is kind of like an old school way. This is a par 3 that looks very difficult but actually is a fairly good chance for a drop if you find the correct line. Hole number 9, now we need to take ourselves down the right hand side, and the best way to do this in tailwind is to use our quarterback and a power 3 ball. The power 3 ball not so much for the drive, but especially the second shot, because using a power 3 ball here together with the sniper is going to allow you to go a little bit short on drive and still be in range for the play we want on the second shot, especially if you're, as me, having Sniper 7. We're using curl to the right, using all the side spin to the right. We're also using all the top spin on quarterback level 8. We do want to get to around 315 to 320 yards. Second shot now. Right, this one is a classic because we have it's very common that we are bouncing on this pad over and attacking the pin. This is probably one of the most flat greens we do have of the city park, which also allow us to make some errors and still be in decent shape for the putt. Second shot here should be played minus 10% elevation, but I'm actually making a pretty big error. I'm not sure if anyone noticed that, but I actually played it plus 10 instead of minus 10, and that obviously is going to make a difference. Not much difference because the wind is so low, but enough difference to miss on the right hand side, being over adjusted on this shot. But even if I miss, I make sure that I'm using spin that allow me to still stay close to the pin and getting a simple putt. Thank you everybody for watching and this playthrough for a Rookie Division. If you do have any type of questions about the content that I do here on the channel, never hesitate to reach out. And yes, if you enjoyed it, don't forget to thumbs up on your way out.